this is Mrs. Ott, and we are ready to start a new lesson today. It's going to be animals made with painted paper. The painted paper, we made it in a separate tutorial, and if you didn't make any, you can go back and make some, or you can use any interesting papers that you might have at home. I'm going to show you a book that has animals made with really cool textures and different papers, so it doesn't have to be exactly the same. And you're going to choose the shape of the animal that you want, and then you will cut it out and assemble it, so it's going to be kind of like a big collage. And I wonder what animal you will be choosing. Basically, choose your favorite animal. You will also need up to 4 sheets of white paper, so depending on the animal that you choose and the sketch that you make, you might just need 1 or 2. One for your background for sure, and then maybe a couple to make a sketch. You will also need a glue stick and scissors, pencil, eraser just in case, and a black sharpie. So let's get started. So here are some examples of painted paper. We made these last week in one of my video tutorials so that we could use them for this project. Now you can use them for many other projects, but I just wanted to show you some examples that we did last week, and I absolutely love these papers. They always turn out absolutely gorgeous. So if you did not do painted paper last week, you can also use other pieces of paper that you have at home that would be interesting. Otherwise, you can go back to the tutorial, make the papers, and come back. I also want to share with you a book of an artist that I think is really fun, and she uses different kinds of painted paper and printed paper for her animals. So we are going to make an animal out of our painted paper, and I just wanted to show you the way these are done. So for instance, there's one part for the body, and then separate parts for the legs, separate parts for the tails, the ears. So depending on which animal you choose, and I'm just going to go through a few so you can see, and if there's any. So right now I want you to look at shapes, and since this is a video, if you find a shape that you like, you can stop, and then I'll show you how we're going to work from each shape to create an animal with our painted paper. So for instance, our fish here would be one shape like this, then another shape, and another shape, and another shape. So this one is actually pretty easy. This one has multiple shapes here, and the little legs, and then these are cut out. The tiger, oh my gosh, that's such a fun one, because it's got the whiskers and the nose. Look at the expression on the eyes. So we will be adding separate pieces for eyes, nose, whiskers, details like that. So really cool and simple shapes. So you're going to think about basically decomposing your animal in different shapes. The giraffes are one of my favorites. You have basically one shape here. You could do just one big shape like this, then one for the head, antennas, and then separate legs. This is a really good one. The wolf, the tortoise, elephants are absolutely so cool too. And I am looking for the one. I absolutely love the swan. The swan could work maybe with this one. I'm also looking at colors. The bear looks like a patchwork. Zebra, still black and white. And then our lion is to die for. Crocodile. Toucan is really good too. Rhinoceros. Moose. Monkey. Squirrel. Crow. grasshopper. Lots of legs. And I'm going to stop here because I've decided that I'm going to make some kind of a bird. It could be a cockatoo or a parrot, I'm not sure. But so basically, if I look at these cockatoo here, I have basically a head, or this part here, which will be the body. Then I have a wing, and I have a separate part for the tail feathers, another wing, and a big tuft, and then the little legs. Or I could do a parrot, which is kind of shaped like this, like that, and then wings. I think I'm going to make a parrot, and I might be using my orange yellow paper, so it might look like a cockatoo, I'm not sure. So we're going to go to the next step, which will be to get a paper and a pencil. In this next step, we're going to use this white paper to kind of sketch the shape of the animal that you're doing. So if I'm going to do something like a parrot, which is here, I'm going to do this first one here, like that. And then separately, I will make the shape of the wings and, you know, the headdress, tail feathers, the beak. So I'm going to start here. I actually have 2 pieces of paper because I want to make sure I have enough room to make them separate. So I think it's going to look something like this. Something like this. This is the body. And separately, remember, this is really important. I'm going to do my beak, which will be something like this. And maybe something for, oh, I'm actually going to leave the head for later. Now on a separate piece, I'm going to do my wings. And the wings looked something like this. Here's one wing. The other wing is actually going this way. And these are separate. And I have a really beautiful tail feather. That was a long, long one. So it's going to be something like that. And I will work on the feet a little bit later. So now that I have these are basic sketches, and I will reproduce the same thing on the painted paper that I use. Now last week we made on purpose 2 sides on some of them that were different, so that when we overlap the bird parts, we can have some contrast. So I'm going to decide to have perhaps, let me see, this one as the body. So my body is this right here. So I'm going to turn it on the back, and I'm going to basically sketch this one more time. So I start with a long vertical line. This one will go back here. And then I'm going to curve it up a little bit more. And then I have my beak right here. And right here. Then I'm going to go to, this one is going to be here. Then for my wings, I will be using yellow. So again, it's always good to draw on the back so that if you need to erase, you can. And also so that when we cut the pieces, there are no pencil marks at all. So here's my second wing and my tail. tail feathers. So here are my basic parts. I'm gonna start with these. I'm gonna put these aside, and I am going to cut all these up. Now that I have all my pieces cut, I am going to figure out how they all fit together. Now, another thing to consider is when you trace on the back, when you turn it over, it's going to be facing the other way. So for instance, if I kind of got inspired by this parrot, and when I traced it, it was this way. But I'm going to put it on the other side, it's going to be facing the other way. So my parrot will be reversed like this. The only way to avoid that would be to actually do your pencil sketch on the front. So here's the body of my parrot, and here is the tail. I'm going to put it under for now, and then we'll figure out if we want it over. And this one, I believe, is the long wing that comes on the side, and then this one is the little wing that comes out like this, and here is my beak like that. So right now I'm not gluing just yet. For now I'm just putting them like this, and now I have to figure out how will I make my eye. And it just so happens that when I cut out so now we get to add more details. I definitely need an eye right here. So I'm just going to get some white paper, and first I'm going to draw with a pencil a circle, and I'm going to get my sharpie and draw a nice outline, and maybe inside I'm going to get really nice pupil, and I will cut this out, and then I have to figure out, so let's just cut this out really fast. Make sure you keep your black outline, it's really important so that it really stands out, because our bird is so colorful. Oh, that looks so much better, so much better. Now I have to figure out something for, the feathers at the top of his head. So I'm gonna get all my scraps. So you have to really make sure you keep all your scraps until you're completely done. So maybe this could be, I can use this to make a little mohawk at the top here. So this time I will do my pencil sketch directly on the painted paper. And I'm gonna cut this shape out, and if I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, taller, then I'm gonna add maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna overlap a layer of orange and make even taller, kind of a mohawk. I'm gonna just bubble cut this so that it's easier to cut. So now I have my shape of the mohawk right here. And I have, so one, let me make this one a little bit more of an indentation, something like that. There we go. So we can see the shape. And this will go under and this will go over. Now, I actually like the way the beak is kind of looking up. So this way. And now we have to figure out maybe I want to add something on extra here and maybe some legs. So I will make the legs out of white paper and I will add a few more details. Kept on making additions and revisions, so using my white piece of paper, what I did is each time I wanted to make an addition, I basically traced the part and then added some layers. So I added one for the beak, one for the tail feathers, and I decided that I didn't like my legs after all. So you can also cut pieces from your extras, or for instance this one is another piece of my painted paper. So keep all your painted paper until you're completely done. And when you feel you're done, then you can glue it. And so it's going to be an overlapping, different layers, and I'm going to glue it on this white piece of paper. And I'm all done, and I absolutely love my bird. And what's really fun is that when I started my bird, I had no idea what it would look like. So it's kind of a magical process. And if you were watching the video before, you just have to overlap, and glue things under, over, and do not glue everything until you're all done. So at the very end, I can just push everything down, but it's something that happens, you know, really fast, and that's part of the magic of art. So I can't wait to see what you're going to be doing with your bird, and I hope that you share it with me.